Hope everyone is doing well this brilliant Saturday. When you get in, if you could tell me if you can hear me in the chat, that would be phenomenal. Yay, Caston. Hello. Things are always a little high, Cersei. I see that you were pleased with what I did in the latest chapter. I wish I could tell the rest of you about it, but it's a secret for those of you who aren't ahead. Yeah, we are on chapter 124 on the site. Thank you for telling me you all can hear me. Hello, you guys. Hello, hello. I'm so glad to see you all. Hello, Lurleen. Glad you got on. Hello, Matt, Ice, Jose, Crimson Sorcerer, Kiryamum. I think I'm doing that wrong. The snowy south of Germany. It's so great to have you here. Hello, 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 Lily, Cassidy, Kaitan. So excellent. Allie's saying yes. Okay, fantastic. I always love hello Ness. I always love when it's like, somebody's first time and like every time we do this, there's somebody whose first time it is, and it's so fun. Hello, small alien. Emma. Hello, hello. So good to see all you guys. That rainbow high. Another person. We've got a few who are, first times. Cersei's like, you're giving me all my ships. Yes, I am. Hey, 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 Claude. Um, yes, Lurleen, yes, there was, right? So for those of you who think comments don't matter on the chapters, I don't think anyone thinks that. But if anyone really wondered, it matters. Hello, Rose and Liv and Cayman and oh gosh. Keston, I love my Diet Coke right now. I'm very loving it. Well, Lily, I am very. Oh, you've got a family gathering and you're hanging out with us for a little bit? That's awesome. Um, oh, Sophie. I feel like it's a fledgling sandwich that I finally had to write as a separate thing, so it might have to be a crossover. Yeah, I think that might have to happen. So the people, those of you who wish to have the canon of that, of the crossover. Liv, do you like the new site? Do you guys like the new front page for those of you who are using it? I think it's pretty snazzy. Most importantly, I think that it actually, and by the way, I have to add that it's a live going on right now. Hold on a second here. Let me do that. I just realized that because one of the things that I was finding was, quite frankly, that we were using the ancient email method to reach people, and some people don't read their emails, understandably, or not in time. So let me just update this so people who do go to the front page can see it and all of this good stuff. Ooh, I have to do an add new. It's Empire of Stars live stream. This is very exciting. We're going to have another live stream this month. I haven't talked about it yet, but with the whole cast and crew of Everdark at the end of the month. So that'll be, but it's going to be late on a Sunday night, which is like really random. Okay, hold on a second here. Live stream and AMA right now. Okay, and image. I'm having to literally create this while I'm talking to you guys so that it is up. Oh, it takes forever. Yeah, the Rock's Rocket. So yeah, so Sylvia designed the new front page. Jeremy put it together, and I'm using it, and it's really, really useful. I think to keep people up to date with what's coming, and to there are people who did not realize that we actually had manga, like, and that was being updated like all the time. So I was like, oh, okay, whoops, 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 whoops. And so that shows when something's updated and when something is going on.
Like,
And
oh, okay.
whoops, whoops. I literally had my own. I had to grab that link. Okay, the YouTube link and description. Hold on 1 second here, guys. Chapters 80 and 81 of Empire of Stars will be read by Raythe live and an Ask Me Anything. Okay, all right, so let's save and close, and let's make sure that this thing actually saved and closed so that people on the site know, and it's there. It's so exciting. Oh my God. But yeah, so the whole idea is that at a glance, you can like look at the new website and know what's coming. You can know when the free books are going to be. You can know, and I know there's a little bit of a thing where, you know, a lot of us are international. We are doing this United States Central date and time. So that just to give you an idea. Yeah, the new gorgeous Dragon's Reign illustration. Yes. Yes, quick links to the chapters. It's also because, you know, everyone's now coming in for Everdark. Like that is where the majority of our members are coming from. And so there was always questions like, well, where do I go to listen to, you know, the Everdark live, the Everdark stream? And it was always like, oh, well, it's here, but it was like tucked away. So we put that right in the front page so people could easily just sign in and go right to it. So that's really good. Casting, yeah, okay, cool. And the phone, I was hoping that the phone would work particularly well because I know a lot of you listen on your phone, or listen and read on your phone, I should say. Here, Diet Coke sip here. So we're going to be updating a bunch of other things too that just have gone by the wayside. So yeah. Sierra, could you let Jeremy know when you're logging in that it's switching you back to the old homepage? I don't know if that's a cache thing or what, or if it's a glitch. So if you could just use the contact, you can email. Here, I'm going to put the email for Jeremy in the site. Tech support at raytherain.com. I'm going to do that. So you could do that, because basically, okay, why are you doing that? That's really annoying. So that you can basically check it out. Just send it to him in case something's happening, because that front page is really important. Matt, I'm so glad. Absolutely. Yay, Ivy, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad everybody's here. This is so nice, as always. I'm trying to think if there's some other announcements. Oh, yes. Okay, so I did mention, for those of you listening to Everdark, on the 29th, remember that's Chicago, U.S. Standard Time, at 9:30 my time, 7 o'clock, 7, it's like 9 my time, 7 Canadian time or whatever. We're going to have the whole cast of the Everdark up for a live stream. So I hope people can join us, even though that's a really awkward time, but it was the best time for everyone. It's to celebrate the 3rd volume coming out and just to like to say hi to you guys. They loved. All the actors loved last time. I mean, they were all like blown away by how awesome you guys are, which I am not surprised. It's like, you are awesome. But, you know, even though they are working actors and really good and everything, being a character that somebody loves and having them be able to tell you that is like such a rush. And I know that that's very happy making for all of them, especially the actor who plays Bruno, who plays K-Morn. He really didn't understand the K-Morn love. He's like, but he's the villain. I'm like, well, you'll just have to see, you know? Yeah. Yes, Cassidy, the time is complicated, but Google, it's really easy. I'll have the update, or it'll probably tell you on YouTube itself. This, Emma, it's totally PG. We cannot do any non-PG on YouTube. So it's completely PG. The non-PG chapters are all loaded to raytherain.com behind. If you sign in, you can get to it. So it'll be really good. So don't worry, you can have that. Yeah, everything now on YouTube, on Spotify, on everything is PG. Okay. Let's see here. So she's like, I'm glad that the actors liked our nonsense. They did. They loved it. They loved it. You absolutely should. Absolutely. Crimson Sorcerer, I can't convert time zones either. Um, okay, time sidekick. I'm sorry, but that we're just gonna block that. I think that's a yeah. Okay. All right. Yes. Well, because we got a channel strike. It was really fucking bad. Excuse my language. I shouldn't even be swearing because they've now taken to, if you swear, they actually are now blocking those videos too, if you swear within so much. Yes, 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 yes. Um, so basically, yeah, good times. Good times, YouTube. I mean, what I've never quite understood. I mean, it's their look. It's their platform, and they want to make sure that all advertisers feel really good about advertising on any particular. Because the way you advertise on YouTube, quite frankly, is like spray and pray. To be honest with you, Cat does it for us, and we can sort of narrow it down. But in all honesty, it's really difficult. So a lot of these big companies like Coke or, like Clorox or whatever you would think of, they're not going down into the nitty-gritty of channels. They're just going basically on any channel. If they're even doing that. Quite frankly, they're normally following the person because Google allows that. When you see that same ad where you've looked at something for shoes and that shoe place shows up everywhere, that's sort of how this totally works too. But what YouTube wants is for, if they in fact just like do a, their ads on this platform, that they're not associated with anything that they wouldn't like to be associated with. Unfortunately, that's totally making the, YouTube platform very bland, and the rules keep changing. And it doesn't matter if you made something 2 years ago and the rules change now, that content will literally be demonetized and it could get you a strike. So it's really not good. So we're also rules followers to a certain extent because we respect that this is their playground and they're letting us play on it. As to be honest with you, um, that's just how it is. I mean, it's Google's. It's Google's. It's Google's. It's Google's playground, so we get to play by their rules. We are able to give you everything on Raythe because that is my playground and I own that, and therefore we can do whatever we want over there. So that will be, that there. I guess that's the difference. So we own that, they own this. We're playing on their rules. Great. So Cersei, could you drop the link to the Discord on the stream, and I will pin that. I will try to pin that. I know that, it's not about the users. If YouTube cared about kids, they would do something completely different. Think of all those creepy kids videos that you may have run across on YouTube. They don't care about kids. They care about advertisers. And advertisers simply don't want their product put on they even though this is what's so goofy, and I'm like having difficulty speaking. Normally, the ads are following you to see that, give you stuff that you're interested in, but the ads don't want to be posted opposite. For example, back in the day, they actually had like jihad recruitment videos were having like Coca-Cola on them, and they don't want to have that juxtaposition. And as much as we would find, like Wraith Rain and this stuff not offensive, a lot of people do, even though it's bullshit, right? But the thing is, they just don't want the grief. They don't want the grief for it. So that's the thing, and they want to basically, um, they basically want this to be like so bland and vanilla that no brand has to ever worry if they did this. So that is why. Yeah, I wish Diet Coke would sponsor us. I do rant about them all the time. Oh, even if they just gave me lifetime Diet Coke, I would like totally do it. Yeah, like Lucas, I just remember I found yeah, remixes and children's music playlists generated by YouTube. There's some really creepy sexual stuff with like Spider-Man, I guess. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Also, you have to be 18 or older to join the Discord. It will require that. Yeah, Kids Bob, it's terrifying. It is. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Cocomelon is odd. I don't know why kids like these things, but I think maybe back in the day we all were a little odd with that. I don't know. But I mean, that's really what's going on. So we play, it's their sandbox, their rules, and we just sort of have to work within it. And I'm glad we have this opportunity. But, in all honesty, we've got Raythe Rain. So those of you who can, I'm so glad that you can go over there and listen to everything we have. So that's just sort of be like, um, that's a good thing. We own that corner of the universe, and because of members, we can have that. So that's been really, great. I love YouTube, but we do use YouTube and Spotify and iHeartRadio and the books and all of that, quite frankly, to get you to know about the membership and to join us there. Okay. I have heard of anti-LGBT ads on pro-LGBT. Yes, yes, not their target audience. Well, I think they may be trying to reach those of us who might be a-okay with LGBT thoughts, more of it, so that they can tell us that we're wrong to feel this way. Yeah, yeah, I do have. Weirdly, mine does, and you have to show the. It's annoying. If I'm on a Mac, so it does this automatically. It's really annoying. Yeah. Hold on a second here. Yeah, the weird ads for mobile that play on nearly every video. Yes, yes, it's so weird. There's so much crazy crap. So here's the thing, like there's too much put up on YouTube for them to really follow it unless they really, really suddenly hired like a ton of people and got their AI far more sophisticated. But like they don't care. They really don't care about it. They just want advertisers to put their money on. So yeah, in all honesty, that's all this is about. It's all about money. So if you keep that in mind, you recognize why they're doing what they're doing. Yeah, just good times. Good times. So for those of you who are new, and we have a few of you today, which is very exciting, I am going to read chapters 80 and 81 of Empire of Stars. And I read them out loud. I pretty much break them into two pieces each. While I am reading, I cannot see the comments that you are putting up. So, but what I do is when I take the break, I go and I read the comments and I respond to them. So you can ask me, for example, anything about the story. We try to do spoilers though, because a lot of people can't read ahead. And so members who are in the chat, because members are on chapter 124. Okay, so we're only on 80 here. So there's like 40 some more chapters right now on the site of the story to read right this moment. So you can imagine how much has gone on um, since this moment. um, and so that it's exciting. And yeah, yeah. So just try no spoilers, no spoilers. Um, and we basically I will answer those questions as they come up, and in those sections where I'm taking a break, and then you can also ask me anything else as well, and I will try to do that. Yeah, no spoilers, please. Because some people are listening to it as it goes online because they can't, unfortunately, can't join us on Wraith Rain. But that is okay. We are so happy to have them. We are so grateful that you are all here. It's really awesome. Okay. Yeah, this is a shocker for everyone, right? A real shocker there, Cersei, that Jace and Koth are gay for each other. So gay. So very, very gay. All right. All right. Okay, let me take a sip of Diet Coke here. And, oh, I'm putting this one up because I want people to know. And the new chapters are amazing. Or is that also a spoiler? It is a spoiler that I'm willing to have up. I'm so glad. And Tara, you are the best. Thank you. Um, and really, truly, and awesomely, everyone who supports us in any way they can makes a big difference. Makes a huge difference. You have no idea. I have a secret. I cannot tell you now, but let's just put it this way: because of the incredible, incredible support you guys have given us for Everdark, and for signing up, and for buying stuff, and for shouting to the rooftops about us. Um, we were able to do a thing that is really awesome. But I'm not ready to talk about it now, but I just want you to know that you have caused something to be created that is really fucking amazing. So we'll just leave it at that. Mm. Hello, hello. All right. Okay. We're going to start with chapter 80. Let me get myself centered here. All right. Chapter 80. Near Escape. What are you doing? Koth asked Jace's dangling legs. Jace had climbed halfway up one of the garden walls. The pilot turned his head to look back down at Koth with one of those irrepressible grins on his lips that Koth had learned to love and fear a little bit. I'm trying to find us a way out of here, Jace explained. They both had on their soft suits, which were solid black. Jace's boots were polished to a mirror-like shine, and his suit had a high collar that flared around his throat. He looked beautiful, in Koth's opinion. I believe you may cause your outfit to become dirty if you continue this activity, Koth pointed out. Oh, and you look sexy too. I do love you in anything that clings, but then again, I love you in anything, and perhaps best in nothing at all. Jace gave him another grin that was slightly lascivious. Koth blued a little bit and said, As I do you, Azael. Now, why are you climbing the wall to get out of this location when we have a perfectly serviceable door? He gestured back towards the interior of their quarters. Because there are people outside that door, and once we go out that door, Koth, we'll be inundated with yet more people, Jace said as he turned back to the wall that was covered with an Aegea vine. The Aegea was a hardy plant that was rumored to have covered nearly all of Hassian when the Thafel first discovered the planet eons ago. It had to be hacked away and burned in order for them to have access to the planet's buildings and other structures. Now it was mostly tamed. Its silver vines with golden leaves were kept to cover the walls and gardens, or to soften some of the more harsh architecture of the planet. Jace was using it as a means of gaining purchase on the sheer garden wall that stretched up nearly 5 times Jace's height. And we do not want people, Koth clarified, tilting his head to the side. Jace had been quite the host before and after they had mated. His mother had stayed 2 subcycles before she left just a short time ago to settle into her quarters and then to meet with General Antashkin. Jace's father would not be arriving on the planet until after sunset. They had all agreed to meet for a meal to tell Jack about their bond and to celebrate it. Koth was to invite his own father too, and his mother as well, if he wished to. He was still considering this, considering it very hard. It wasn't that he was ashamed of being mated, quite the contrary, nor was it the Fell's need for privacy, as his parents were part of his family union. Well, my father is. His own reticence came from wanting to maintain that easy smile on Jace's lips. His mate was sensitive to others' feelings, and it was clear as day to Koth that Jace found their bond the most wonderful thing. To have others be less than kind about it would cause Jace pain and stress. His mate had dealt with plenty of both. He simply wanted Jace to continue to be happy, but now it appeared Jace too did not want any other people around them at this time. Maybe he recognized the same issues that Koth did. Curious. No, we do not want people. What we want is for the 2 of us to escape and for you to show me around your lore. Jace explained, as he carefully placed another foot on a vine, testing its strength to hold his weight. Take me to all your favorite spots. Ah, I see. You wish for us to be alone, and for me to show you places that mean something to me. Khoth lifted an eyebrow. That's right. It's almost like you're reading my mind. Jace chuckled low in his throat. You are not actually communicating to me. I'm teasing, Khoth. Ah. I thought if I told you the plan before I knew a way out of here that wouldn't attract too much attention that you'd shoot it down. Duty, responsibility, I'm still recovering, on and on, Jace explained and climbed up further. The Aegea's vines were getting rather thin, and he wasn't halfway up the wall. Khoth resisted the urge to hold up his arms to catch him when Jace inevitably fell. Jace must know that the vines were too slender for his weight. Surely the Osiris was telling him this, but Jace seemed quite intent on this climbing business. I am not sure what on and on would entail, but I do agree that duty and responsibility would indicate we should not be escaping from our rooms, Khoth replied dryly. Ah, man, I knew you were going to say that. No, I am certain you misunderstand me, Khoth answered with a smile. What? Whoa! The Aegea gave way. Jace's left foot was scrabbling against the wall as the vine snapped beneath it. Then the vine under his right foot gave out as well. Jace's hand sought purchase against the smooth stone wall, but he was not to succeed. Khoth moved in to catch him, but it was unnecessary. Jace flipped in mid-air and landed lightly on his feet on the ground. He appeared completely unhurt. He glared at the wall, though. Are you injured? That was a significant fall, Khoth pointed out, running his hands up and down his mate's shoulders and arms. Really, he should check his feet, ankles, and legs. When he went down to check, Jace gently tugged him up. Khoth, I'm fine, Jace told him. Jace, his forehead furrowed. Not 3 subcycles ago, Jace could hardly walk. They had engaged in sexual intercourse, and Jace had managed to eat some of the food, but Khoth still worried. How much could Dr. Ice's medicine do? And Jace would push himself. She'd warned him not to, but this was Jace, and that is his nature. No, really, I'm so much better. Jace gave him a tender look and covered one of Khoth's hands with his own. Especially since we bonded. I feel pretty amazing, actually. As do I, Khoth answered, feeling a little faint as he said it. They had bonded, and it was so perfect that it almost frightened him. Not that he thought it was wrong in any way, but he didn't want anything to affect it. Not that anything could, not even the responses of the Thafel around them, especially his parents and Typhon and who knew who else. Gehenna actually told me that some of my issues, the emotional storm and stuff, was because Altaith do have mates, and I wanted to mate with you, so now that we are together, I think my body's calmed down a bit. Jace's smile grew. It's so crazy to say we're mated, isn't it? And yeah, I know it's going to be a thing for some people. Even those we might not expect to have a problem with it may be concerned or more. But they're wrong. This is how we're supposed to be. Yes, this is meant. Thalma will be pleased that we are mated, I think, Khoth said. Oh yeah, she'll definitely agree we need a party, though, Jace beamed. Khoth stifled his urge to groan. And I am certain Doctors Isa and Kerr, along with Matthias, will approve. Davies and Dr. Hayter will also not be perturbed. They were all aware of our feelings, including Bob from engineering. Good old Bob. I can't wait to tell him. That'll be as good as saying it over the intercom. Jace's smile suddenly dimmed. But what about? Jace bit his lower lip and looked up at him through huge eyes. Who? Who do you fear so much knowing? Khoth's hands tightened their grip on Jace's shoulders. He would protect Jace from whoever it was that caused his beloved such concern. Jace's lower lip wobbled as he answered, Tilly, your one true love. Khoth slowly blinked, then let out a snort before he said stiffly, You are correct, Azael. Chili will not approve. We should call the whole thing off. My heart is hers, after all. Jace burst into laughter. You're only half joking, but you're joking, and I love it. Our bonding tattoo should look like a pig, Khoth continued in that mock serious tone. Or just a squiggly tail. You're getting so good at the jokes. But wait, Chili needs a mating bow. Jace perked up at this. He was undoubtedly thinking of Chili wearing such a thing at their wedding. Indeed, Khoth smiled down at him. Now, back to the matter at hand. Our escape, Jace nodded. His eyes, though, were still filled with the idea of a mating bow. Both of them faced the wall, studying it. I do not believe it can be climbed without equipment, a grappling hook, or suction boots. Suction boots? That sounds interesting, but no, I won't be distracted. We don't have those with us. Suction boots, Jace repeated. Khoth frowned. But you must have known you could not climb the wall before you attempted it, so why? Jace grimaced. Okay, the Osiris might have told me that it wasn't going to work, but I still had to try. That is illogical. Yeah, the Osiris said that too. But I'm like my dad sometimes. I just have to try, you know? Jace shrugged, not at all repentant about the fall. He stroked his chin. Maybe if I have the AIs alter the structure of the wall, or we could go out the door, Koth suggested. No, Koth, you're missing the point here. And wait, where are you going? Jace called after him. Koth had turned and was striding purposefully towards the door to the bedroom. It whooshed open, and the guards both turned towards him. The pilot and I will require Canso to be made available on the roof landing pad, Koth told them. We require no escort. You may go. The guards nodded and marched off down the hallway. One of them was already communicating the need for the Canso. Jace popped his head out, mouth open in an O of surprise, as he watched the guards leave. He craned his neck up to see Koth. How? But they just left, Jace cried. Yes, Koth answered, and gestured for Jace to precede him out into the hallway. Jace slowly did so, looking suspiciously about for something. He supposed Jace thought more guards were about to jump out and corner them, though Jace, of all people, must know where everyone was in the building. I don't understand, Jace finally admitted as the door to their quarters shut and locked behind them. We are not prisoners here. We are honored guests. The guards were for your protection, not to keep us inside, Koth explained as they started to walk down the hallway. Jace was still looking uncertain, his forehead furrowed. He opened and shut his mouth, evidently thinking of and discarding various things he wanted to say, and then found them lacking in some way. But they're following every single one of the crew about, yet not us? Or is it because you're the fell, so, again, those minders are for the crew's protection, not to limit them in any way. There will be those who do not believe humans would understand the risk the cool pose, and might not report any contact with them, Koth explained. But they do know. Yes, the Maturans are well aware of this, but we are not speaking of those in power believing this necessarily, though there will be some. Humans are, I'm afraid to remind you, not thought of well, Koth reminded Jace as they stepped into an elevator that would take them to the roof. Jace frowned. Yeah, right, okay. Even though they might have seen them fight today for us and more, prejudices do not disappear overnight, Koth explained. Jace's head bobbed in agreement. I agree with that, but I suppose I expected to be ambushed by Typhon or the Council or something. Koth nodded. Yes, I am certain that is true, but recall that they think you are incapable of leaving your bed, let alone leaving the compound. Well, the guards will tell them. In fact, they did. Jace had an impish look on his face. I expected this. Koth repressed a smile. But running after the pilot would not look dignified, and they would have to run full speed to catch us. The doors to the elevator whooshed open. After you, Azael. Okay, let's take a little break here. Woohoo! Hold on a second. Poor Chili. Yes, I know. Poor Chili. She's being left alone. Hold on. There was a question here, and I think I missed it. So Sierra says she has a personal theory that these vines are what they get the metal the ships are made from, as it is said to grow. Oh, what an interesting idea. That is true, Crimson Sorcerer. So the Osiris said that it's being grown on specific planets the Alliance hasn't found yet. So that would be basically, that would be true. So it can't be. Although it might be some kind of living substance. Although, truthfully, I've always seen the cool as having organic more organic technology, and the Altair having more what we would think of technology. But it does grow. It does grow. 7.5 for the idea and 9 for the landing. Yes. Jace was, I mean, one of the things that I absolutely adore about Jace is that he, because I am not a really physical person. I've got diabetes, and that I was really, really sick for a while earlier this year until I found this great drug that has just turned my life around. But I'll be honest with you, like I've never been physically capable, strong, or anything like that. And I like with Jace, he lived a life where that was the same for him too. His body betrayed him. So him being able to do these flips in the air and just be really like athletic, it is my dream. But I think it is Jace's too to give him that. So yes. Oh, Keston. Well, have a great day. Bye bye. Yes, the nickname Jace got from Koth. It just seems to like roll off the tongue, and it just feels really, really appropriate. I don't know. Jace trying to be sneaky is hilarious. It's true. Azale it's actually the name that Koth gave Jace. It's a private name between mates. The bit of the chapters you missed are the sexy times chapters, which are not allowed on YouTube. They are only on wraithrain.com. So for members. So I tried to do a little bit of a summary of that last time so you would know, but that's what Azale means. Yes. I think it would be hilarious for Jace to try explaining the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to Koth. Yes, I think it would. Although honestly, it's been so long since I've read that book, I would have to like explain this. Like I would have to read it myself again. I would have to read it myself. Oh, thank you, Dawn. That's so kind. I think they would be really good friends. I think all my main guys would be good friends with one another. Chili will have her day. She will. Azale is only used between Jace and Koth, and in fact, it's a private name that Koth has for Jace. So that name is only used for Jace, and that's only used by Koth. No one else would use it. Yes, Bunny Hell, which I love your name. That is correct. Yes, that is correct. Hold on, another Diet Coke sip here. Yeah, good times, good times. All right. Woo-hoo-hoo. Okay. Now we're going to continue with chapter 81. Jace laughed and grabbed his hand before pulling Koth after him. We've got to be quick, Koth. They're going to try and stop our fun. The two of them raced over to the Canso. Jace immediately slid into the driver's side and expertly began to adjust the controls. You don't mind if I fly, do you? Jace asked. I know it's your city, but You want to fly on an alien world above an alien city. Koth nodded, hearing his mate's thoughts as clearly as his own, and he felt the emotions behind them as well. Wonder and joy and a sort of shock that this was all happening. Jace nodded. They lifted off just as the elevator doors opened, and Typhon, along with General Intoshkin, practically tumbled from the elevator. Jace let out another delighted laugh and gave them a salute, even as they started flying away from the compound. Typhon lifted an eyebrow, while the general waved his hat in the air as if Jace were really going to come back. Typhon is sending a communication, Koth remarked. Ignore it. I'm sending him a message. I should have just shut down the guard's comms. Then he wouldn't have known that quickly, Jace said. But we have to give them a chance. And affecting their comms might not be seen as friendly, Koth remarked. Yeah, there's that. But we got away. Next time, though, we will need to scale a wall or two, Jace said. They won't be so careless again. They will not, Koth agreed with a smile. But we are very clever. Yes, we are, Jace laughed. Okay, no. Now tell me where we're going. We cannot truly leave the downtown area due to the quarantine. Khoth gestured towards the line of Paladin-class fighters that circled the downtown, keeping anyone that might leave inside. But there is a place I find great peace in. It is there. He placed a location marker on the Kanso's map so that Jace could easily find it when he wanted to take where he wanted to take his mate. Jace effortlessly turned the craft towards their destination. The sun was lower in the sky. It seemed like this day had lasted forever, but soon night would fall. The sunlight cast a golden glow over the buildings, seeming to set some on fire. Hold on one second, just editing as we do this. Sometimes Khoth felt that the city was meant to be seen this way, in the air more than on the ground. How little we know of the Altaith. Jace is one of them, but still they are a mystery. What they loved, what they lost, where they went. There's no infection here, Jace said with a sigh as one of the Paladin-class fighters, evidently alerted to their presence, flew parallel to them, letting them know not to pass out of the downtown. He clearly doesn't know I can set his ship down and all the others, does he? Undoubtedly no. The urge to tell Jace not to do that passed before he parted his lips. Jace could do what he wanted. Perhaps he should shake up the people a little more. But they are doing of what is asked of them. The council's having the area quarantined until tomorrow at the earliest. The cleaning bots have it handled. It's done. I'm having them scour more areas, but we got it all, Jace assured him. Yes, but the fear remains, Khoth admitted. Jace took one hand off the yoke and reached over to touch him. I know. It's terrifying having them here, and what they did. Jace pressed his lips together as if to hold the worlds in. It's obscene. Yes. He would say no more. He didn't want to poison their moment alone together with the thought of the cool, though. He pointed ahead of them towards the large tower that stuck out of the center of the city like the hilt of a Raythe. There's a landing pad you can sit down on. Jace followed his finger and nodded. Soon they were climbing to the top of the tower and soaring over its side before Jace landed the Kanso neatly on the pad. No one was there, or else the Kanso would have had to disgorge them and then be sent elsewhere. But there would be no one out there this evening other than them. Jace unbuckled the harness while Khoth did the same. While Jace got out, Khoth grabbed some of his drinks that Jace enjoyed on their ride to the compound and then met him outside. The landing pad was attached to the side of the tower. A set of stairs led them up to the top. Jace let out a breath as soon as they reached the top step, and what he wanted Jace to see was spread out before them. It is what you would call a restaurant, but more intimate than that, Khoth explained as he swept a hand over the large circular space before them. It was fully open to the air. Low rectangular tables with cushions on either side were placed at even intervals along nearly the entirety of the outside, except for the pie-shaped wedge of the stairs. Arlan grass, purple and fragrant, was planted everywhere, except for a few white stone paths that allowed diners and servers to move to the tables. An invisible shield caused only gentle breezes to pass through rather than roaring winds there would otherwise be at this height. Jace slowly turned in a circle. His expression was full of wonder as he took in the entirety of Yalor. Every part of the city could be glimpsed from the tower, and Jace's eyes looked hungry to take it all in. It's so beautiful, Jace whispered. Khoth linked their hands together. I dreamed that I would bring my mate here to celebrate our joining. This is not quite how it should be, but... Jace turned and cupped his cheek. Khoth, everything is perfect with you. They kissed. It was so gentle and deep. It was sweetness and light. Jace's body melded against his own, and Khoth felt stronger for holding his mate and hardly noticed the weight of him. He wrapped his arms around the slightly smaller form and held Jace close. We will come back when it is restored, Khoth promised him. Hopefully that will be tomorrow, Jace teased. But they both knew that it wouldn't be. The people would still be afraid. They broke apart and walked hand in hand over to a table. They sat down side by side instead of across from one another. Jace rested his back against Khoth's front. Khoth opened the juices for them, and they drank and watched the sun as it glided down towards the horizon. The Altaith saw this same scene, Jace said quietly. They did, Khoth agreed. And now And Altair sees it again. Jace was quiet for a minute and then nodded. Yeah, yeah, you're right. And Altair is seeing it again, with his mate, no less. What did you dream of doing with your mate? Khoth asked after a companionable silence had fallen. Jace sighed and snuggled back against him. I wanted something just like what my parents have. They were able to go out and be full people on their own, but they always wanted to be with each other most of all. They seemingly understood one another without speaking. They were each other's steadying anchor, but also breeze under one's sails. But the truth is... What? What is the truth, Azael? Khoth felt at that moment that Jace's thoughts were a deep pit of despair, but then the sun hit the horizon and that darkness was burned away. I never thought I'd have this. What I have with you. Not in any dream. Not in a million years. Jace let out a huff of laughter. So I'm sort of figuring out how I got so lucky, and how I really don't want to mess it up. Khoth buried his face in Jace's fragrant hair. You could not. Never. I am with you. Always. The sun sank below Hastian's horizon, and night bloomed in wonder and glory before them. That is the end of chapter 80. Woo! Yeah, I did do the kiss. I thought that was pretty PG-13. I think, Allison, that people have done some more. There have been a bunch. An AO3. And I encourage anyone who does want to write them. Please do. And please let the Discord know. They kissed. Yes. They kissed. I know. Oh, goodness. Let's just see. I know. I gave the kiss. I think that was PG-13. God, please, YouTube, let that be PG-13. They are adorable together. I think that, you know, to me, relationships are a gift, not a given. And, they're work. So I always feel like, this is the fantasy that you really are with someone that you're meant to be with. It's like, seriously, like, oh, who doesn't want a companion like that? Really and truly. My God. So reasonable. So good for one another. It's like, good Lord. Oh, Matt, that is so awesome. My God. You don't have to do that. Thank you. So I had a thought about the Everdark universe, he says. Is Hori's depressed in Seattle? Is that what? Oh, it's right. It's there. Why, yes. Yes, it might be. It might, in fact, be. Um, and Matt, thank you so much for the super chat. That is really awesome of you. Thank you so much. Yes, they're cute and sweet. Tara, I don't know anymore because literally I have seen YouTubers who have used the F word and that's been enough, like just to swear, not not in the other descriptive way, and that's been enough to get everything demonetized. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So Alison says Jace's journey was a rough one. The first chapter, he was miserable in his own body. Loved their relationship so much. I was really bringing up my own feelings, especially. I actually went into the hospital when I was writing EOS, and it really felt like my own escape in the sense of like the thought that you could be freed of a body that just isn't working. And I know that many of you can relate to that. And I think that is one of my joys with Jace, is to see him restored, even though many of us are not. But it is the fantasy. So that Rainbow asks, I wonder if just people are still alive, not caught up, although I am a member. That answer is actually provided, and I don't want to give it because it's a spoiler. It is actually a big spoiler, but when it's coming ahead, you'll find out. So that is answered. 100 more chapters, 100 more chapters. Really, from where we are, it's going to probably be Jesus. I probably 180, maybe 200. Especially if I'm like, I'm enjoying like because we have to like address because some of the members created aliens that are on board the ship, and I want to give them some fleshed out stuff in the background. Like this month, I'm really doing because there was a big like reveal, a big thing all happened. So now we're like I'm doing sort of the crew backstory. Hospitals are no fun, Eleanor. I did not respect my diabetes, and it said, "Oh, really? You're not going to respect us? Guess what? Ketoacidosis for you." Yeah, it was a nightmare. Um, so yay, I know. So a lot. So I'm like literally giving all of our characters like a fair shake to just, make sure. Because I feel like as much as it's the Jason Koth show, I think we've become really attached to a lot of the other characters and want to know what happens to them and want to have at least some little bits and pieces of them getting their goals, their backstories. So, yeah. So that is like, what I anticipate. So that's yeah. Everyone's like, I'm set. I know it's been very easy to write this because write this long because I think of it almost like Star Trek, like episodes, and that like. So if you really think about it, with all the crew get episodes, yeah, Captain Picard was like the main character in it, but we got to see like Lieutenant Troy and all this kind of stuff, like their stories too, and that's sort of how I'm viewing this serial is that we get to do other stuff, and I think one of the members mentioned the latest chapter because we're seeing stuff from Thomas' point of view, from Davy's point of view, and they're like, I really love that. Unlike a book where you really to keep the narrative tight, you would not go and show this other stuff that in the serials we can. And yeah, I like that too because we can wander and go about because if members are confused or don't know what's going on or if they want to skip those chapters, they can. They don't have to, but it allows me to really delve into things and then people can tell me what they'd like to see more of and know more of, and I can then just write that, which is pretty awesome. So Matt has a follow-up question. Some of us in Discord were speculating, since Horus and Peppa from Encanto have similar powers, that Horus is more emotional. That said, would he and Grayson be frenemies? I could see Horus definitely being very mercurial, right? Because storms and wind, and yeah, I think that their emotions would be the main driver of their powers. Um, yeah, I think they would be frenemies because I think Grayson, who, by the way, in Everdark Academy, we won't say who he plays, but let's just say that his character is one where control, duty, and keeping a cool head are the things that he most admires and must do based on who he is. You joke, but I think I'm going to do one. I think I'm going to do at least a part of a chapter from Chili's point of view. Yes, I think I am. That might be the next one I do. Ha ha! It's going to be great. Um, Bunny asks, "Oh my God, if people were to send you a new alien, would you still consider them, or is it really too late? If it is not too late, where would you want it to send?" They couldn't probably be part of the crew, but if you wanted to send an alien that they could encounter, I might be able to incorporate it. I might not. I'm not sure. Go to the contact um, form on the front of Raythe Rain, and you can send it. I give as much detail as you can. Obviously, name, race, description, characterization, all that kind of stuff, so I could go for it. Tara's like, I love that you respond to her comments on the new chapters and incorporate fan ideas. I love it. I have gotten some of the absolute best ideas from you guys. Seriously. I mean, I cannot tell you where it's just like some little comment has suddenly completely changed what I'm going to do with something. And it's been great. So we're all in agreement that Chili gets a point of view. In fact, I think that's going to be the next chapter. It's going to be Chili's point of view oinking around as she goes around the ship. It's going to be so much fun. Oh, it's going to be so silly, but it's going to be a great time. We'll have to tie it a little bit into the story, but I think, oh yeah, we have to do this. It's sort of like, how cats have rounds of neighborhoods where they like go around and like everything. I could see Chili going around and doing it. Um, and seeing her favorite people who feed her things that she should not have. And that's just how that goes. Yep, Chili Oink Oink is coming next. So Cersei says, "Yay for Grayson and Horace frenemies. We're imagining scenes about them already. Fantastic." Um, I am actually, you know how I've said that I'm going to do three um Everdark things? It's going to be more than three, I think. So I have three big arcs, and then I'm going to have other stories. So I do not know when we're going. I think Horus is too great of a character not to maybe have their own story. Like, so I don't want to just introduce them. I want it to be their own story. Yes, Oink Oink is coming. Be prepared. I think I've got like, I think Monday is still Empire of Stars Day. Yeah, I think so. Yes. An Elven King's Blade sequel from Twig's point of view. Twig's the fox in that, which is a very, well, it's a magic fox. Magic fox. So EDA chapter is told by Mephi. Could happen. It could happen. Like, yeah. Oh, this, I love this. Dragon's Rage 2. Iolaire's memoir. That's fantastic. Chilly chapter for the win. Yes. It's gonna be, I think, Tara, we could have her stumble upon a plot. A big plot. We never know. Yep. I think, yes, I do think that there will be something with Horus as a big character. I don't want to just waste, I don't want to say waste, but waste the Immortals just as an off the cuff thing. I already like, although Wyvern has had a lot of place in this, I feel like I need more from her. Anyway, yeah. We'll have to think about that because it's not like she knows his name, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be very fun. You're my 52 ever. Yes, it really is going to be like that. Because I also want to tell other stories with Julian and Christian and Balthazar and Damon. I have like a small thing I want to do with them. Like just like an offshoot. Like I don't see why not. I want to continue. There's like this main story that I want to tell regarding like the first story was Damon's return. The second story is the war, dealing with the consequences of the war, and the third big story is humanity, and like how that all goes. But that's just like just tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. Yeah. So there's got to be a lot more. So Lurleen says, "What is fun? We can also comment on comment. An idea comes out of it too." That's right. That's exactly right. I am Groot fan fiction. Yes, it is, except it's I am chili. Hear me oink. Memphis memoir. How I learned to put up with Valerian. That's so accurate. It's just adorable. I know. Ooh, chili fine plot. Yes. I missed what would be too big for YouTube. I don't know. Probably. Remember, it's like nothing that you're a child couldn't listen to. Chili playing matchmaker, getting loose and running up to people who belong together. Oh, cute. Ness says, "One of the immortal love interests could be a fledgling from before the war that survived all this time. I'm so happy to see them again." That's a possibility. Yeah, that could actually deal with their parents too. I see it as one of them like um sort of like how they're dealing with being, these vampires that are sort of like the poster children for that. Yes, look at all the cute piggy faces. Yeah, so cute. Okay, let's do 81. Hold on one second. I'm having issues here. I need to take a drink. Drink. Lana's tail. I met a human called Kayla, and oh, look, a yummy fish dives. Yeah, that's pretty much her. Oh my God. I'm so glad that you love the story, Tay. This is so great. Yeah, there's so much that happens, on all honesty, in the next 40 chapters. I mean, members can attest that, like, a lot of questions are answered, a lot more questions are put out there. It's pretty crazy. Again, pink snouts. I love it. All right, let's start 81. Chapter 81, Reasons Why. Jack stared at a very unhappy Dai Suzuki. The computer engineer had taken on the role of Scotty in Star Trek and was supervising the loading of fuel and other necessities onto the ship. It's not that I can't do it myself, Jack, Dai said, slipping into first names, but I'm concerned about you leaving. What if the Cool come back? They were standing in one of the Osiris's large hangar bays. Jack was preparing to board a dropship that he would be flying to the planet's surface himself, thank you very much, in order to see his son and wife. And it wasn't just to see them, but hear some big news, which, considering all they were dealing with, could be absolutely anything. But any of it was critical. Jack put a hand on Dai's shoulder. The Osiris is monitoring all the gates that lead into this system. The Cool won't use one of the master gates again, because they're likely too far away from their main fleet. So we'll know more and we'll know more so we'll know in more than enough time for me to reboard the ship if the Cool intend to return. Dai shifted from foot to foot anxiously in his blue science uniform. Jack's black one with the red slashes at collar and cuffs looked just as sleek, but it also reminded Jack that while Dai was a leader among engineering folks, he had no experience with fighting, and they had just gone through a hell of a fight. One we didn't expect, which makes things worse. Dai's continued uneasy expression, despite his comforting words, told him that the engineers simply didn't feel safe, no matter what safeguards were in place. Jack grimaced. He would not have chosen to leave the ship himself, but Jace was so insistent, and it wasn't just because Jace was his son that he was intent on honoring the young man's request for his presence, or that his beloved Diane was there, but because Jace was his commanding officer. Jace, the pilot, is certain that it's safe. He's completely recovered and has full access to the Osiris' systems and those on the planet, Jack continued. Even if Jace is not physically aboard the ship, it's just the same as if he was. Dai nodded. He clearly understood this. He was a scientist, after all. But they need the security of someone in charge being physically present. The pilot would not lightly pull me away, Dai, Jack reminded him. Dai let out a breath between his teeth. I know, and you wouldn't go either. I understand that, but... You're scared, Jack stated rather than asked. Another nod. It's irrational, I know. But I keep thinking, what if we get cut off from the pilot again? Only your quick thinking, and yours, Jack reminded him. He nodded. And mine. Saved us last time. The Osiris is a remarkable machine, but in the end, it is a machine. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Dai threw his arms up into the air. All my life, I've wanted to create something a fraction as good as the Osiris. And now I see that even something as amazing as it is, well, it needs us. Dai gave him a crooked smile. Already learning on this trip, Jack nodded. The pilot needs to meet and choose new crew members. He must work with the Alliance Council to get their support, and he must confer with his top people to come up with a plan. Sometimes in person is the best way to do that. Dai covered his face with his hands and furiously scrubbed his eyes. Of course, you're right, and I wouldn't want you to miss a moment with your family on an alien world, no less. I'm certain the pilot needs you exactly where he's asked you to be. Forget I said anything. I can handle things here, Flight Commander Parker. He half expected Dai to salute. The engineer did lift an arm awkwardly and then dropped it, as if he wasn't certain where it should go. I won't forget it, Jack told him, which had an almost comic look of dismay flowing over Dai's face. Because it's important. Your concerns are valid, Dai. Your fears are valid too. And I know you'll handle things when I'm gone just fine. But I do want you to speak with Dr. Kerr at some point. But I... Yes, sir, Dai quickly amended. Not as a punishment, Jack assured him. I'm going to see her myself. He stroked his chin. While we all knew that we were going to face the Cool at some point, none of us knew it would be so soon or like this. It's like finding out the enemy army you're facing isn't 2 times as good as you are and twice the size, but 10 times as good and 100 times the size. Dai gave him a genuine smile. I knew that the Alliance needed us, but not this badly. No, I agree. The pilot was always needed in a leadership position, but now I think we all see that they need all of us the more. Jack drew in a deep breath. And we're playing catch up. The Cool underestimated us. That's something. Dai brightened a little. That they did, Jack smiled back. Now I need you to continue to monitor the fuel intake, but also to continue your studies of the Osiris. I need you to know that it can do what it can do in any given situation. Dai nodded. I could do that. I know you can. Because you already have shown you can, he reminded the engineer. When it mattered, Dai. You were there. You were on top of everything. Keep that in mind. Dai nodded. I've never been in any kind of battle before. I'm glad I kept my head, but I must do better. We've all got to do that, Jack told him. He clapped Dai's shoulder one last time and then turned from the man towards the gangway into the ship. I'll be in touch. If you need me for anything, use the comm, no matter what the time. Will do, Dai waved. Jack gave a wave back as he boarded the dropship. His heart quickened as he entered the spacecraft and realized that he would be flying it. He slid his fingers across the sensor for the gangway. There was a hiss and hum as it closed. He rubbed his hands together as he made his way to the cockpit. The pilot's chair moved back and turned to the side automatically at his approach, seemingly welcoming him to the ship. His heart raced a little faster. He had worked extensively with Thama while they picked the human crew, not to mention the dozens of simulation hours he'd added to that, and his near constant review of all manuals. When he sat down and the harness clicked around him before the chair turned and slid back into perfect piloting position, he wiggled his fingers before reaching out to start the pre-flight checklist. But buttons started to light up all on their own, as if someone else was flying. What the hell? Jack whispered to himself. Except, of course, he was not alone. He was never alone. I will fly you to the planet's surface, the Osiris said, its text scrawling across the viewing screen in front of him. No thank you, Osiris. I intend on flying myself down to Hassian, Jack answered briskly and started the check that he and Thama had gone over countless times. And a little edit here. But that is illogical, was typed across the screen. I'm a pilot, Osiris, so hardly illogical that I want to get some flight time in, Jack reminded the AI, even as he continued his preparation unabated. You are a pilot in training, the Osiris corrected a little sniffily, if Jack interpreted the tone right. I was enough of a pilot to fly you, Jack said, and suppressed an inappropriate grin at how that sounded. The cursor blinked. Yeah, so I think I can handle the dropship, Jack continued, and finished with final checks before hitting the ignition. The dropship rose up 10 feet into the air. The outer door to the hangar bay slid silently to the side, showing only the blue glow of the force field in place. He could exit without that coming down. If that wasn't the case, anything not nailed down would have been sucked out into the vacuum of space, including crew who were logging in fresh fruits and vegetables, along with proteins from Hassian. He pushed slightly forward on the throttle and kept another hand on the steering yoke. The ship began to fly forward at a sedate and safe pace. The way the dropship had been parked allowed him to simply go straight forward to exit the Osiris, and soon he pushed out into space. Jack allowed himself to marvel at the fact that he was in space, in a ship that allowed him to feel much more in tune with the elements, or lack of elements, around him. There were so many stars that it looked like someone had overturned a bag of diamonds onto a black velvet background. He caught sight of the gate that silently spun. He found himself, rather like Dai Suzuki, staring at it too long and too hard, worried that a cool hive would emerge. But nothing did. They were safe. Will we ever be truly safe until the cool are destroyed? I think not. Jack rolled his shoulders back to loosen them and turned back towards the planet. Hassian hung below him like a green gold jewel. She was different from Earth, but he felt a tug of almost memory when he saw the planet, almost as if Hassian were familiar to him, but that likely had to do with his studies. Still, it was odd to feel this sense of connection to a place he'd never been, an alien world just waiting to be explored. But the truth was that it almost felt like coming home. He wondered if Jace or Diane had experienced a strange sensation. He started to pilot the ship down to the planet. The dropship was not as sleek as a Paladin-class fighter he'd been in, but it was responsive to his gentle nudges and increase of speed on the throttle. He'd practiced landing tons of times, as takeoffs and landings were usually when costly errors could occur, because that was when there were less room to move. Yet he found himself enjoying the experience without any feeling of stress. Why did you choose to separate yourself from Colonel Parker? The Osiris's question burst across the screen. Separate? You mean have her work with Earth and me go with Jace? Surely you heard what explanations we gave our son, so. But you did not tell him all, the Osiris interrupted. There was a kind of desperation to its questions. What don't you think we told him? Jack asked evenly back. The Osiris couldn't read his mind, right? Only Jace's. But he'd had conversations with Diane both in and outside the ship, so. Were you eavesdropping on Diane and I? Jack added before the Osiris said anything further. I do not eavesdrop, the Osiris answered curtly, or tartly, as Jace would say. I monitor. Oh, you monitor. So that's different than listening in on private conversations that do not concern you? Jack clarified with a tight smile. He wasn't exactly happy knowing that the Osiris had listened to his and Diane's private concerns, because in truth, he didn't want Jace burdened with them. They concern you, which concerns Jace, which concerns me, the Osiris answered. Have you told Jace about these private conversations you monitored? I have provided him with recordings, the Osiris replied primly, but then added, almost as if confused by this, but he has not reviewed them. Most of them he simply deletes. Good boy, Jace, Jack thought and smiled. Because he understands the value of privacy, Osiris. He knows that we will tell him what we need, to, and what we need and want him to know. Yeah. The rest is private, Jack explained. That is illogical. The things you consider private are the things that he should definitely know to make an informed decision, the Osiris argued back. What we told Jace is what we believe to be true after careful consideration of those private things. We don't need to convince him of our decisions that way, Jack answered. But you admit that this private information was necessary in order to make your own decision. But you would not give Jace all of that information in order to make his, the Osiris pushed back. That's true, but Jace knows that Diane and I are rational, reasoned adults who can make our own decisions. He doesn't need or want to second-guess us, Jack said. But she is your mate, and you are choosing to be separated from her. There was actually an exclamation point at the end of that sentence, which abruptly disappeared. Jack blinked. Had he imagined it? No, it had been there. Now it was gone, as if the Osiris realized it had revealed too much. Humans don't have mates, Osiris, Jack reminded it. He was nearly through the upper atmosphere. His angle was perfect. His gaze flowed over the rest of the instruments, and everything was still ago. What would you have done if your mate had been killed during the battle? The Osiris asked. Jack's eyes narrowed, even as his heart thudded heavily in his chest. Losing Diane. She was the air in his lungs, the blood in his veins. She was everything to him. No. Not everything, not since Jace was born. She is almost everything. And that is what informed his answer. I would suffer greatly. I would mourn her the rest of my life, but I would go on. The Altaith often do not go on when their mates perish. Well, I bet they did if they had children who needed them, Jack answered, and Jace needs me. So even though I would be hurting, I would continue on. The cursor blinked slowly, as if the Osiris was considering his words. But then the ship asked, But you have agreed to be separated from her now. This physical separation is not welcome. My monitoring of both your vitals. More monitoring, Jack lifted an eyebrow. Yes, more cursor blinking. Then the Osiris continued, Both your vitals are improved when you are within each other's presences. They are optimal when the two of you are with the pilot. I'm sure that's true. Jack smiled as he thought of his wife and son. Yes, they do make me happiest when they're near, Jack thought. Yet you have both decided that she should not be with you, the Osiris continued. Yes? Why? You have heard our reasons, including our private reasons, he answered with a shake of his head. Hold on, Diet Coke break. Is it because you wish to keep her safe? The Osiris asked. Jack opened his mouth but then shut it. Was it? Partially, yes, Jack answered. But there are a myriad of other reasons. For example, Diane is the best person to represent humanity. She's got the perfect temperament. That can't be said for many other military officers. But is that why the two of you have decided that only you should be part of the crew? No, but she's using her talents in the greatest way, Jack said. She's the ambassador for humans, Osiris. She's going to show every species the best possible side of us. That's incalculable. But that is not why you decided. Oh, okay, no. It's not all of the reasons, but it's the one that should trump all of the others anyways, Jack answered. But it did not. The Osiris reply was almost soft. At the moment, he broke through the upper atmosphere, and the nighttime sky of Yalor appeared on the screen. Jack was taken aback for a moment. His breath caught in his throat, and his chest felt tight. That sense of returning home was so strong that he could almost taste it. What would it taste like? He didn't know, but he thought it would be a taste he'd experienced before, yet he'd know it. He'd know it down to his bones. The architecture was clearly alien, though he did see familiar domes, towers, bridges, and skyscrapers. But there was an alien hand behind it, something that spoke to him of other minds bringing this city to life. There were lush areas of forest that wound through the city itself, unlike the parks in human cities. He saw vast waterways surrounding bridges and buildings and trees, as if making islands of them in the city itself. The sun had set, but there wasn't the harsh white-blue lights in the myriad of structures, but instead a warm, amber-red glow that was more like firelight and soothed the eyes. He found himself simply flying above the city and not caring where the landing point was, though it was flashing in increasingly large letters on his screen, as if the Osiris wasn't quite sure he saw it. He snorted. You need to admit the truth, the Osiris said in a very non-AI way, that you and your mate chose to separate in order to protect her from danger. Even if there are more valid reasons, this was the one that motivated you both. No, it didn't. That is a lie. Your vitals. All this monitoring must be exhausting. Jack frowned at the blinking cursor. Osiris, why does it matter to you so much? Why Diane and I determine this course of action? Do you not agree with it? Do you wish her to be part of the crew? Is Jace unhappy with it? That last one was the most likely. Why else would the Osiris be concerned about this? It had to be something to do with how it was affecting Jace. Was his son not convinced that his mother should remain on Hassian and represent humanity? Had the battle made Jace feel, much like Di, that it was better if they were all together? He licked his lips and said, You are correct that the reason Diane and I are both not members of the Osiris crew is due to the danger it poses with all three being together. You admit the truth. You fear you will be affected by her loss and will abandon the mission. No. We fear what losing both parents will do to Jace, Jack cut in. If Diane is here on Hassian, and I am with Jace on the Osiris, the loss of both of us is unlikely to happen at once. So Jace will still have one parent left no matter what. The cursor blinked. The pilot would be emotionally compromised by losing you both. The Osiris seemed alarmed at this. No exclamation points, but there was something more human in its speech. He wondered why. He would be. And so we are not going to put ourselves in the position of Jace losing both of his parents at the same time, Jack answered softly. Diane and I are devoted to one another, and losing her would gut me. It would do the same to her, but we don't just live for each other. We live for Jace, too. And neither of us would abandon him, not even in our grief. Would the pilot similarly choose to continue if you were alive, but his mate was not? The Osiris asked. Again, Osiris, humans don't have mates. Jack shook his head. But I think that Jace would continue because it's the right thing to do, and others are counting on him. That's who Jace is. You don't have to worry about the loss of a mate should Jace even start dating. At that moment, Jace's face appeared on the screen before him. His son's eyes were bright. The smile on his face was the biggest that Jack had ever seen. His son was glowing with happiness, and while this made him happy too, it worried him based upon what the Osiris was saying. Dad, his son beamed. Taking the scenic route? Finally getting a chance to fly a little more, so I can't help myself, Jack admitted. Well, please land, Jace laughed, bright, beaming, bursting with happiness. Khoth and I are ready to pick you up and take you to the compound. Jack swallowed. You're really intent on telling me your news, aren't you? Jace ducked his head and blushed. Jack's stomach flipped. Jace looked at him almost shyly as he answered, I am. I can't wait. But Jack suddenly wished he would. And that is the end of 81. Well, let's look at stuff here. Oh, goodness. Thank you for coming, Bree. Thank you so much. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you, Bunny L. So Danielle says, I love that Jack respects Jace as a leader and more importantly as his leader. Yes, and that's really important because, and this is one of the things that Jack is very conscious about. Like, it's very easy to see your children as needing your guidance and not having the best answers, but Jace is his commanding officer and he would be undermining Jace as that, and that's unacceptable to him as a soldier. So that's, yes, the Osiris is a bit of a mess. Let's see here. Let's see here. The Osiris always has to be right. I think the Osiris, and this is sort of discussed later, but I think you can all guess it, that the Osiris is a little bit affected by what's all happening here in ways it did not anticipate. It has a lot to learn, yes. Yeah, it's like, Osiris, shut up. The Osiris trying so hard to understand relationships. It does have a big arc. So Danielle says that bleakness of Jack's heartfelt response to the idea of Diane's death was like a punch to the gut. Yes. Yes. It really is. She is his soul. She is his soul. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for those kind words. He is definitely, Jack is really tough. He is amazing. I based him sort of on the idea of, just a fighter pilot. I mean, that's the type. He's an experimental pilot, so he's tough. He's sort of got the Maverick vibe of Top Gun, but obviously older, wiser, and all that kind of stuff. But he basically, he still has that, he's oh, what's that word? Like a risk taker. He's a leader and he's a risk taker. So yes, we find out how Jack takes it. Yes, next chapter. Oh goodness, go sleep. Go sleep. I'm so glad you were here. Yeah, I know, seriously, right? I mean, it's just the Osiris is basically a complete mess. You're welcome, Cersei. He needs to talk to Dr. Kerr, I think. I think I might do a chapter with him talking to Dr. Kerr. Oh my goodness. The Osiris and its monitoring. I know it. I know it. Well, thank you so much, Bunny Hal, for going. You too. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful evening. So yes, we've done our 2 chapters for this month. Next month is coming on the 29th. I believe it'll be 9 p.m. Central Standard, which means it's just at a really awkward time for everyone. We are going to have the live stream of the actors. If you can be there, I would so appreciate it. They completely love talking to you guys. It really matters a lot to them. So please do try to stop by at least. It's just is so important to them and to me to hear from you guys, and I just know that they love hearing from you. Yeah, Claude, I told you have to go back and reread so you're not like wondering like what happens again. Yeah, he does need to talk to Dr. Kerr. Yes, we get to do something fun. I think we'll do some more like so I think we'll finish out this month with some of the the side characters, and then we'll do more like more action adventure, and then I think we'll do some stuff like the Osiris talking to Dr. Kerr, and we'll do a lot of other stuff, so that's going to be fun. So yeah, so definitely if you can show up on January 29th, I would so appreciate it. Remember that on January 26th, which is this upcoming Thursday, the third volume of Everdark drops that you can purchase, the hardback, the ebook, and the audiobook. That is already, all of chapter 3 is already posted, I think, on Raythe or close to it. So if you sign up for Raythe, you can listen to all of up to episode 3. And we're going to be starting, I'm sorry, volume 3. We're going to be starting on volume 4 ahead of everybody. So we're always way ahead of the game. So it's going to be quite good. It's going to be quite good. Yes, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I know, exactly. Dr. Kerr is studying all the species to try and help them the best way possible. She's totally going to do that. And the Osiris, maybe that would be a good idea. That would be. Excellent, excellent. So thank you all for showing up this today. I just love seeing all of you. I love reading for all of you. Um, just it's been such a wonderful oh, I know. I'm so tempted to get a hardback. I actually sign it, and now we actually have um inserts where all the cast have signed that I now with the books. I'm going to try to do some kind of like bundle, like it's good with all this stuff in it, something special. Like it might have like all the books and like, a blanket or something for people if they want to do that, some book bundles or mugs or something. I'll find out. Um, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah. So this will be really good. I know it's an awful time, but it's when they could make it. So I hope you can at least listen to it afterwards. That would be great. Who needs sleep? I know, exactly. It's ridiculous. Believe me, it's late for me too. It's going to go from 9 to 11 o'clock my time. And I'm like, guys, okay. Because they're 2 hours before me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, no blanket and stuff like that. I think we're going to try to do like some kind of cool bundles that people get, like an Everdark bundle that would be less cost than individual purchasing, so that you could get like a bundle and it would actually, we don't make a ton, we don't really make money on the merch, but it's so fun. And I know, and we love making it, and it makes us feel special. We make some money on it, but yeah. Damon blanket. Yes, excellent, Matt. I love that. So you can snuggle with him. Snuggle, snuggle. We definitely have to do something, man. Anyway, again, thank you all for being here, and I will hopefully see you on the 29th. I'm looking forward to your comments on the rest of the chapters of Everdark, and what for those of you listening to this later, please leave your comments. I read all of them. I love hearing from you. It makes all the hard work worth it. So I do love it. Do the books come with the art you post for the story? No, it's just the cover. We are doing, but we might be able to do something like that, like posters or cards, something. I'll think about it. I'll ask you guys and we'll talk about it and what you guys want, because that will help us put something together. Yeah. Basically to get these hardbacks by Pod, which is pay on demand from Ingram Spark, it's so expensive. It's ridiculous. Otherwise, I would share more of a value with you guys, but it's not meant, how shall I put this? It's meant to be a collector's piece, and that's what they do for Pod, but it's frustrating because unless I'm willing to basically do 2,000 to 10,000 copies, I'm not going to be able to get any price that's going to give you a benefit of it. It's annoying, but it is what it is. Okay, I've got to go, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.